How are you? So we're gonna break you guys into 3 different groups. On the cooking side, we're gonna meet Zach Whipple. He is gonna show you guys how to do your cooks, what grains are gonna go into, what batches we're gonna do. In the still house, we're gonna meet Greg Guerra. He is the supervisor for the production. He's gonna run you guys through making cuts, what we're gonna put into the stills, what we're gonna put into barrel. For barreling, batch selection, bottling, you're gonna meet Dan and Dan. Dan Vasco, Dan Bernhardt. Dan Bernhardt's gonna go through the barrel selection with you guys. Dan Vasco is gonna go through dumping, proofing, running the line. He's in charge of the day-to-day, sort of keeping the line running. Most of our staff here have a huge knowledge base for everything that you guys could possibly wanna know. Ask them any questions that you have. Try to absorb as much as you can in the next couple days. We got a test for you, so just be ready. All right, let's get started for the day.
I definitely wanted to do mashing and fermentation first, just because I know that that's the first step in the whiskey making process. I worked with Zach. He got to wear like a crazy mask, goggles, and earplugs. Mashing and fermentation is when you take all of the grains that you're going to use to make your whiskey and you grind them up to a particular degree of coarseness, and then you basically are making what they call a cook. Right when I got there, he was in the middle of a cook.
We're just going to mill up our grain to grind it up just so it absorbs a lot more water, breaks down a lot faster, breaks down the starches into sugars, makes the happy environment for the yeast.
I was taking notes as furiously as I could. You look at barley and it's like that's actually going to be transformed into whiskey, which is pretty amazing. So it's definitely a magical process.
You know, I was feeling nervous. Greg was great. He was definitely trying to stick to his work, but you know, explaining what he was doing as he was doing it.
It takes a lot to be part of the team here at Tuthilltown. We all have a real good team mentality. You really have to have a multifaceted mind. You have to have many things on your mind at once. Even right now, I have a lot of things going on that within 5 minutes I need to attend to. And everyone just moving in the same direction is really the mentality you need to have to make good whiskey, make good spirits, and make the cut around here.
Distillation basically is taking grain that has been fermented and putting it into a copper pot that is heated. Obviously the alcohol evaporates at a lower temperature than water. You have your first cut, which is the heads, which is mainly ethanol, that's very undesirable taste. And then after that you get the hearts, and the hearts is the sweet stuff. That's the good stuff. That's the stuff they want to put into barrels. And as the hearts evaporate off, you end up with less alcohol, which they call the tails, and that's when some of the water begins to evaporate. They run that through again in the rectification run. They have come up with a very, very consistent product that, you know, is loved all around the world at this point. You know, I really loved working in the still room. Just the smell of that liquor pouring off those stills is amazing. It smells like whiskey.
My first production rotation meant following Brendan and Dan up the little path to the rick house where they have all the barrels.
This is where we store everything and let it mature.
We're a partner with the cooperage themselves, and it's kind of the flavor profile that we're looking for comes really heavily out of those Black Swan barrels.
Cool. So my job was to help them bang some of the bungs out of the barrels and taste some of the whiskey and figure out whether some were over oaked, whether some were still needing a little bit more aging. And the process involves dipping the thief into the barrel and pulling out a dram of whiskey. But sampling some of the whiskey was obviously a delight. And we found a few barrels that we thought were ready to go. Took the barrels back down to bottling, tipped them out onto the filter and pump system that would pump that whiskey into vats for blending and then into the bottles. So we went through all this training and really got to know how Hudson whiskey is made from the grain to the glass.
I definitely think with practice I could become a good distiller. I think it's really important to understand the process to be a brand ambassador.
I would absolutely make a great distiller. If I don't make the final cut, which hopefully I will, I'm probably going to go right back over there and apply and dive in deep, and I can do anything well that I put my mind to doing.
I think I would need a bunch more practice for sure. but yeah, I think I could make a good distiller.